Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We are so glad to have you listening with us here today. Today's topic is knowing who to obey. We will return after this brief message from our sponsor.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Hey, this is Chris from the Salvation Army's podcast, Words of Life. If you haven't checked it out, I want to invite you to check out this weekly 15-minute show brought to you by the Salvation Army. Recently, we had a 6-week series with Dr. Zach Clinton, encouraging godly men to be the husbands, fathers, and friends God has called them to be. And through this October, we're featuring a series highlighting stories and testimonies of people's faith journey and their call to full-time ministry.
It was just reminding me of who I was and whose I was. I mean, kind of like what Jesus does, you know what I mean? Like he said to the woman who was about to get stoned, like, you're loved, but go and sin no more.
And it always makes me cry when people, unfortunately, did not have an earthly father, that they can go, I understand what a father's love is because I had an earthly father who loved me.
Listen to Words of Life wherever you get your podcasts or visit wordsoflifepodcast.org.
It is better to obey God than to obey man. Written by Vivian Bricker, read by Rochelle Alberti. Peter and the other apostles replied, "We must obey God rather than human beings." Acts 5:29. Each day, we have the choice of whether we will obey God or obey man. Many of us are fearful of other humans, but in truth, we shouldn't be afraid of them. May we all echo the words of the psalmist, "The Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?" Psalm 118:6. Rather than being afraid, we can live freely in obedience to God. Many believe this means we should be afraid of God. But this isn't what God wants. He doesn't want us to be afraid of Him. He wants us to respect Him, obey Him, and love Him. Fear doesn't last, but love always does. If we genuinely love God, we will obey Him. John 14:15. Our hearts will be devoted to God alone, and we won't have a desire to obey man over God's commands. Living in obedience to Him will bring about our greatest good. Walking in obedience to God is based on love and His work in our lives. It can take some time to walk in obedience with the Lord fully. However, as long as we are trying to walk according to Him, we are going in the right direction. We will never be perfect, so we will all continue to sin throughout our lives. However, our lives will change when we actively choose to obey God rather than man. Whenever we are faced with the decision of obeying God or going along with whatever a person tells us to do, we need to stand our ground. While we don't need to be angry or hostile to others, we need to stand up for the Lord and remain faithful to Him. If we choose to obey mankind over God, we will fall into many temptations and sins. Submitting to them and treating them as our ultimate authority will only lead us further away from God. This alone can drastically affect our relationship with the Lord. Rather than growing in our relationship with Him, we will drift away with the world. Intersecting faith and life. The Bible tells us, Peter and the other apostles replied, "We must obey God rather than human beings." Acts 5:29. As believers, we need to follow what Peter and the apostles say here. First and foremost, we must obey God. There is no reason for us to obey humans if they are not in agreement with the Bible. Obeying God is not a chore or something to dread. Everything He has taught us in the Bible is to help us. God isn't a killjoy or a malevolent ruler who wants to control us. Instead, He is our loving, caring, and kind Father who wants the best for us. Submitting to Him and obeying Him will help us have more joyful lives. Who are you obeying, God or man? How might you start obeying God rather than man? How can you keep yourself accountable for walking in obedience with God rather than the world? Further reading, 1 Samuel 15:22, Proverbs 3:5-6, Luke 6:46-49.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
Looking for inspiration and uplifting stories of faith? Welcome to the Jesus Calling Stories of Faith podcast, now available on Life Audio. Join us each week for heartfelt conversations and personal stories from people from all walks of life that will inspire you and lift your spirit. Whether you're seeking comfort, motivation, or just a moment of peace, the Jesus Calling Stories of Faith podcast offers a beautiful reminder of faith and hope. Listen to the Jesus Calling Stories of Faith podcast on lifeaudio.com or wherever you find your podcasts.